I'm not in that not in that same attitude, but it's just like, whatever happens, I can control what I can control, and whatever I can't control, I'll get me out of it. Welcome back to Into the Garden. I'm Jay Flowers. You see the new background I added? Look nice, don't it? I think there'll be an episode I'll talk about this, what's on my wall one day. So we'll get there. But episode 2, we in 2026. For those who are here or listening, thank y'all for listening to the first episode. Whether you're watching on YouTube or listening on Spotify, whether you're at work or at home, or eating, whatever you're doing, I appreciate you for being here. It's always a pleasure to have y'all listening to anything that I say. I like to talk. The more and more I write about things that I am passionate about, the more I am willing to express in a way to, open up and hopefully connect with some of y'all. So we here. We Into the Garden. I haven't made a title for this episode yet. But I hope that at the end of this episode I figure out one, or hopefully right before I post it, I figure it out. But this episode is going to be really, really interesting. I hope that I reach out to a lot of people with this one, because this episode, I want to say this episode has to deal with everything I dealt with in 2025. And the way that I'm approaching this year is really new, and I'm really excited for the way that I am approaching this year. Going to approach my goals, and also just, enjoying life. So enjoy this. Whatever you're doing right now, lock in. This is something that might get a few people thinking. This might get you emotional. This might have you pull over and think about what you're listening to right now. But I promise you, this is not a boring episode. This is not gonna, just hear me out. But I want to say that I'm 27 years old. And I say that because whenever I talk to a lot of people about my life and what I did and what I'm going to do, I don't feel pressure, and I don't feel like I need to prove something. And for the longest time I did. And I didn't, and like I wasn't trying to prove a point to anybody. I guess I was just trying to prove myself right the whole time. And but whenever I would talk about my life to people, it would feel like, I would even disappoint myself, because it's just like, damn, I did that. And it's like, to some it may sound like a lot, but to me, and the way that I grew up, it's like, you could have done better. I don't know. That's just the way I be feeling sometimes. But this is how a typical conversation will go whenever I'm talking to somebody about my life. They'll ask where I'm from, who raised me, and, what my interests are. Did I go to school and whatnot? And my answers would be, I was born in San Antonio. I was raised in Houston. My mom was a single mom. I would always go to San Antonio in the summertime, spend time with my grandparents. Graduated college. Graduated college with honors, and I work at the airport. And that'll be kind of like the surface level things that people would hear about me. And even though it's a surface level, to some people, I think it would be kind of significant. I don't know, or just be normal. But when I get deeper in that, what people don't know is that, uh, I wasn't always in this perfect light of doing everything right. Like, I ain't gonna lie. Like, growing up, I had dyslexia, I have ADHD, and I have a stuttering problem, or a speech impediment, some would say. But whenever I would tell people about that, they wouldn't believe me, and it's just like, it's one or two things. It's just like, damn, like, I'm telling the truth, but it's like, damn, it's kind of impressive that I really improved on these things. But the environment I grew up in is kind of like, also, I look around, and the thing is, I have respect for everybody. Well, let me let me rephrase that. I have respect for those who do the dirty work and who do what they need to do. I do what I need to do in life, but I grew up in the southeast side of Houston, and I want to say that leaving high school, college wasn't. I don't know. Okay, college was a weird thing. Like, depending on what side of the southeast that you lived on, college is good, college is bad, college is great, college is a waste of time. And then on the other side, the southeast, there you can go to the oil plants and get money and be set for life. It's true. And I was just in that mix of, I just want to be successful. I for sure know I did not want to be in no fucking oil plants. Respect to those. That's why I said respect to those who do what they need to do. Because I would not do that shit. That's cutting years of my life away. That's tough business. But also, like, I was raised by a teacher, and I come from a family with teachers, and seeing my mom grade papers, and then too, like, the state of Texas does not treat teachers or give teachers the respect they need. They do not get paid the way that they need to get paid, especially the time I grew up in. That was some bullshit. But I just teaching didn't even seem fun to me, and I get it. Like, some teachers just did it because they needed to do what they needed to do, but at the same time, it's like, okay, first of all, I'm not like, like disobedient. Like, I'm not gonna hustle, but for some reason, and I felt this all my life, for some reason, I felt like I was, destined is kind of reach, but within my own self, whenever I talk to God, I feel like I'm chosen to do something better than I know. And that sounds weird, but every time that I think about, the things that I'm doing in life, like, I know I can do better. I know that I can, at least, put more effort into. My fault, I had to take a water break. But as I was saying, like, I know that I could do more. My problem was, it was hard for me to stay committed and faithful to things that I started. And it's not to say that I gave up when things didn't work out, but I let me say this. The way that I don't quit is a gift and a curse, because I go so hard to where I hurt myself, or let me say this. You ever see that picture of that guy digging for diamonds? I do that last little layer. That last little layer. That's me. For the longest time, that was me. Because I was just, what's the damn word? I can't think of this word. But I would just lose steam. I wouldn't lose focus, but I outburn myself, I guess, burn out. Damn. Yeah, I'll burn out. And let me tell you, burnout is one of the weirdest things that you could feel, because you know that you're passionate about it, but it's not even your body not wanting to do it, but it's your mind. Your mind needs to break. And I didn't understand what burnout was for the longest time. I didn't understand burnout until my senior year of college. Like, I really didn't understand what burnout was until my senior year of college. And then finally getting over that burnout 2 years later was just like self-relief, because it's like, man, like now I have a clear conscience. Because when I thought about going back to school after I graduated, I'm just like, bro, like it was heavy to think about, because my senior year in college was a fucking trip. It was a goddamn trip. Like, imagine. And the thing is, I love HT. I love Houston Tillotson. I'm glad I went to that school. The people who I went to school with, I appreciate them. The staff, the professors, the advisors. That like small HBCUs, like once somebody on campus knows you and they care about you, they know how to take care of you. Let me say that HBCUs are like that. But my senior year, it was tough because my grandpa had passed a year before that, and I was pretty down about him not seeing me graduate. And so I was just doing a lot. Like, I had 2 jobs. I was working an internship. I was doing a project for the city. I was president of the NAACP. I was taking 7 classes, and I don't know why I was doing that. I don't know why I was doing that. I just don't know. But what made things worse that year, what almost made it worse was I had to repeat a class that I already took, because my advisor told me to take a class that I did not need. Let me tell you, I almost just like said fuck it. Like, not fuck it like I'm going to like just quit college, but like fuck it, I guess I'll just graduate next year. But I graduated that following year. But all that. And then the thing is, like, the second job I worked, I quit that. And then my internship, I worked, okay, let me say my internship, I don't know if I should be, I'm going to be very honest about my internship at HT. Absolute trash. And I'm saying it was absolute trash because I did not learn a single goddamn thing. Nothing contributed to what I wanted to do with sports. And thank God for the new president of HT. Melanie, man, love you. Making HT look beautiful. But I was working under the AD at the time, the sports AD. And these aren't bad people. But my experience was trash because I did not get to learn anything. I wasn't put in positions to, like, advance my career in sports business. But, that's a part of what I'm going to speak about later on in this episode. Even thinking about that just kind of put me in a place. Like, that year, man, that was not an easy year. That was probably one of the hardest years academically in my life. But again, that contributed to the burnout. It contributed to, the way that I viewed, my passions, especially basketball. Like, I love basketball. No, it's a way that I love to escape. I love watching. I love, playing it. Wish I could have played in college, NBA, all that overseas. But I'm gonna also talk about that and forgive at the end of the episode too. But yeah, burnout wasn't just in my academic career, but burnout was also affecting me creatively because, whenever I would get done doing homework or whatever, I would try to make a beat, I try to write, nothing would happen. Or if I did, I was just stuck in this same loop of using the same things, and burnout reached to a point where it was hard for me to even seek out different things. It was, and the thing is, it wasn't. I forgot the other word I'm thinking of when it comes to creating music. I'm not gonna think about that word too much. I'm just gonna stick with burnout. But yeah, burnout was just and the thing is, I try to use music and the things that I love creatively to escape from it. But overall, I just needed a rest. I just needed to lay my ass down and just be, whatever I was. I just needed to be tired, not lazy, just tired. And had I learned that at that time, I probably things would probably be a little different. Who knows? But I'm gonna talk about that also at the end of this episode, which we are slowly approaching. But yeah, burnout affected me creatively, and I wish I was able to do more. Wish I was able to do more, produce more, and just give out to the world, or make myself comfortable. But time just had to be time and just progress, and now we're here. But also, wait a minute, sorry, burnout doesn't end there. Also, I burn out my job a lot. But that's another episode. My job is another episode. I ain't going to be specific, but that is another episode. But all that, I gave y'all all that, and I wanted to say that in 2025, I did a lot of figuring out, and the ending months of 2025, I want to say November, December, or even October, November, December, I finally forgave myself of all these things, of just missed accomplishments, of missed time, and all these things that I thought were over. Because I grew up in a way where, my grandpa didn't have nobody to show him how to do things, so he kind of just did everything himself. My grandpa grew up in the 40s and 50s and made a career out of being an aircraft mechanic. And my grandmother was a special ed teacher, and my mom was a teacher. And so, having to, that alone is pretty great. But at the same time, the expectation of, hustling and making sure that all your things are, everything's aligned, that's one of the pressurizing things that I felt growing up. And it wasn't on purpose. My family just never had anything like that. They never experienced anything like that. So the way that we moved was very meticulous. We did not want to be out of a step. And so I had to forgive myself for being that way. And I had to understand that life doesn't always go that way. And it was a hard thing to like understand because I didn't know what the right way was. Like the thing is, I want to be successful. I know that there's a path, right? I'm always looking up here, but it's always hard for me to navigate between here from here. And the thing is, we're not supposed to know or know how to get to here. We just do what's in between here, depending on what you want to do in life. Why am I doing this? I'm gonna just do this. But depending on what you want to do in life, there are actual steps. But for the way that I'm navigating my life and where I'm at right now in life, I know that there are many other ways I need to go to be successful, to reach up here. And for the longest time, I was so hard on myself because I was like, damn, bro, like you're 27, like you're getting older. You know, you should have been using your degree and all this stuff and all these things. And, you know, when I think about it, it's just like, bro, I was not set up in the best way to use my degree. I wasn't. Like the ending of my HT career was not the best. But at the same time, it's like I have something. It's just a matter of me seeking and figuring it out. And you know, I had to really just like forgive myself because it's like it wasn't nobody else's fault. It's like, yeah, did HT have a little bit to contribute that, a little bit, but the other parts of it is just me. But I was just mad at myself for not reaching that expectation, right? And then, you know, when I think about my other academic career, you know, when my grandpa was alive, I wanted to, like, okay, there was a point in time where I actually wanted to be a physical therapist. I knew what school I wanted to go to and everything. Like, I was going to go back to San Antonio to go to physical therapy school. But, you know, after he passed, I kind of just, God dang it. After he passed, I just kind of lost the passion. And I had to really forgive myself. And I had to really figure out, like, did I really like that? Or did me and him just share that interest? And, you know, and now that I think about it, it's like, shoots, like, had I went forward and got into physical therapy school, like, it would have been a worse burnout. It would have been a worse burnout than anything because it's like, you know, I would have put myself in more depression because I couldn't, like, if I had went to physical therapy school right after I graduated and did all that, like, I know for a fact I wouldn't have been able to finish. Like, my mental and physical state would have just been terrible. I wouldn't have been able to even enjoy going to school. And the thing is, like, I like going to school. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, is it boring at times? Yeah, but it's just like, at least I'm leaving out of here learning something that I did before. Do I want to spend my time there all day? God, no. But I don't mind going to school or having to go to school to, you know, just be better intellectually. And you don't even have to always go to school to be better intellectually. You just learn the damn world. But at the same time, in that moment of time, like, you know, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a physical therapist. But thank God that, you know, God put me in a different path because I'm still figuring that out. Like, I know what to do. I know what I want to do now. Trust and believe. Like, the shit that I've seen that I want to do, man, I'm excited. But I'm thankful that it didn't happen because if I was in physical therapy school and I had burned out then, I would have been more disappointed, you know, because I was right there. And then, you know, I eventually forgave myself for that. It's like, you didn't disappoint anybody. Like, I still graduated college with honors. So it's not like I barely graduated anything. I graduated more than okay. But, I know that I could do more. And the thing is, I'm not a failure or anything. I know that for sure. But my thing is, I'm not afraid to fail either. Again, like, I think I said this early in the episode, but my gift and curse is I don't know how to quit. And that has hurt me and gained me strength at the same time. But now I know how and when not to quit on certain things. That also contributes to the burnout. And that also contributes to me having to forgive myself. So, these past 3 months, the last 3 months of 2025, it's been a bunch of forgiveness. And I want to say the last 2 weeks of 2025, like, I think I've reached that, like, that peak of, like, all right, like, I'm okay with the things that I've let go. I'm okay with starting over. I'm okay with, realigning everything that I want to do. Like, I understand what it means to not put all your eggs in one basket. Like, I finally get it now, and it's okay. I get it. I'm 27 years old, and it's okay. And I'm happy. I'm going to even be more happier in the future, with the grace of God and the support I have that is around me. I know I'm going to be better than okay, So I will say, like, the last 2 weeks of 2025, like, I was so excited for this year to start. And it's the fifth day, and like nothing, nothing has happened to me significantly. Let me not even say that again. But I'm getting tired, obviously. But as I get ready to close out this episode, I will say that I feel fresh. I feel more confident. I feel more focused than anything. But yeah, I'm in a better headspace than I've ever been, and it feels lighter. The way that things would happen, I would either get anxiety. Now I'm just like, fuck it, let's figure it out. I'm not in that same attitude, but it's just like, whatever happens, I can control what I can control, and whatever I can't control, I'll give it to God. And that is just going to be the feeling of this whole year. That is going to be the mission of this whole year. But I also feel there's going to be a great acceleration for me. I feel like there's going to be doors are going to be opened. I feel like there's going to be opportunities that I'm going to have to make a big decision on. I feel very good about myself, and I feel very, very excited about what God has for me. I'm excited about what I'm going to do for myself, and I'm excited what I can provide for not only y'all, but my friends and family. I'm excited to do more for kids. Keep your dreams in sight. Excited to work with a lot more people. Also stick to branches. But yeah, I hope that this episode makes sense, because I kind of know I know that when I was talking I was a bit all over the place, but yeah, I hope this episode is healing to some, because I know that the last 2 weeks of 2025 was, for me at least. It to me, I know what I need to do to be successful. And it's crazy, y'all. Because, again, like I said in the beginning of this episode, me and God have a certain relationship. And I know that He has chosen me to do something. And to close this out, let me say that I'm excited for Him to reveal to me whatever it is. And I will do my absolute best. That was great. That was great. That was a great episode. But yeah, this is the end of this episode. I will figure out a title for this episode. Maybe I'll ask y'all before I post this. Maybe I'll write a little bit about what this episode is about, and then maybe y'all can give me a title for this episode. But as of now, this is Into the Garden. I'm your host, J Flowers, IBJ, one of those two. Call me, but respect me. Love you. See you next time.